Hey guys, it's Deneen here, and I am working on some of the little spreads that I'm putting in my traveler's notebook for my monthly roundups, and I am currently working on September. And if you have followed along with me as I am adding these months into my notebooks, you'll see that most of the time I am using the Ali Edwards Story by the Month kits, and I am trying to use as much of the kits as possible. And every once in a while, I will incorporate things from other kits or other pieces or, other items that I want to add to that month. By no means do I completely stick 100% to just the story kits. And oftentimes I do pull a lot of other stuff in. This is something that I don't think I've really done before, but I love the story kit for September, but I want to use some of the elements from the story kit for a spread about some September birthdays. And so I want to also use some of the cards from the recently released birthday story kit. So what I decided to do was I decided that since I am going to have to resize these 4x6 cards anyway, because I want them to be the base for my Traveler's Notebook pages, and I obviously can't use a 4x6 card as a background. The Traveler's Notebook that I'm working in is from the December daily release. Each page is about I think it's, let's see, 3.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. So that is a little bit of an unusual size, even different from most Traveler's Notebooks. And so this is the background that I want for a spread in that notebook, but I don't want these colors because they're not going with the particular theme I want. And I'll show you here that I want to use this card. I want to use this 3x4 card in my spread, and I want to change the colors of this 4x6 card to match some of the colors in here. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and show you how I'm going to do that. And then just a few other things too as well. So going over here into this card, I have to choose what colors I want to pull into my 4x6 card. And I am going to stick with blue for the blue waves that are on the card. So I'm going to use my color picker tool and I'm going to choose the blue. And then I'll go to Photo Bin and I'll pull up my card. And you'll see here that this is blue, but it's a very different muted blue, and it's just not matching to my standards. So I'm going to go ahead and use the paint bucket tool. And if you take a look down here, you'll see my opacity is at 100%. My tolerance is at 25. And I have the top, all layers, and the anti-aliasing layer checked, or anti-aliasing box checked. And I'm just going to go ahead and click inside anywhere in this blue area. And you'll see that it is automatically going to turn all of those waves into the blue that I want to use that match with the birthday card. So I'm happy with that. And I'll go ahead over then to the birthday card again. And I think the next color I'm going to choose with the color picker tool is green. So I'm going to choose this lighter green. There is a darker green, but I'm going to stick with this one. So I will pick the color from that T, go back to the photo bin. And then this is essentially a shade of green. And again, not the one that I want. So I will again use the paint bucket and I will click inside of that. And I will make that a fun birthday green. And then I'll do the same thing with the orange. And there is also an orange here. It isn't that much different, or it doesn't appear to be that much different, but it is brighter. So picking that color, I'll go back over here. And you can see, if you're looking at them, it really doesn't seem like they're that different. But you'll see when I use my paint bucket that I color these, and look how much brighter they got. Don't they just look so wonderful and bright? And they match very, very nicely now with my birthday card. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to show you. And the next thing I wanted to show you is how I'm going to resize this, because again, the full spread with my Traveler's Notebook lying flat is 8 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And that's exactly what I'm looking to do with this. So I'm actually going to crop this to make that into the size that I want. So I will choose my crop tool. And I want to go down, and I don't want no restriction. I just want to put my numbers in. So I want it to be 7 inches wide by 8 inches tall. Now that's going to be your preference simply because you're going to, let's see, how can I phrase this? You are going to use whatever size traveler's notebook you're using. If you're using a regular sized one, I mean, there are so many different sizes. If you look out there, there's bigger ones, there's smaller ones. It depends, but you're going to crop this. Now I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking that I'm making an error here as I'm going through this. Let's see, 7 inches wide. I have to think in my head. I do believe I mixed those numbers up. I do believe it is 8 inches wide by 7 because my traveler's notebook is 7 inches long this way. And I think these, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, let me get my ruler out because I don't want to make a mistake here while I'm showing you this. And again, like I said, it's not that it really matters because you're going to use whatever numbers you want. But now that I'm looking at it, yes, these traveler's notebooks are 7 inches tall and the pages are 4 inches wide. So if I'm doing a double spread, it would be 8 inches wide by 7. That's what I want. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I had to think. Okay, so once I get the 8 in and the 7 in, I am going to then go ahead. I'm just going to start up here in the corner and I'm just going to drag down. Just going to drag all the way down until I am filling and it'll bring me to the end when I get to the bottom of the page. And then once I am done, I will go ahead and I will commit my changes. So now you can see here, if you look at my little ruler, it is 8 inches wide and it is 7 inches tall, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. Okay, now I also want to do one more thing while I'm here. And I'm going to just kind of give myself a guide. This will be the middle of the traveler's notebook, right? So this will be half on one page and then half on the other page. And I'll cut this down the middle and then adhere them to each side. But another thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to add some photos in here. And I want them to be, and again, you can do this or not do this. You can cut your photos in any way that you want to. But I want my photos to be approximately maybe, I don't know, maybe 3.5 inches wide. And I want them to be maybe at about 2 inches tall. So I kind of want these rectangular shape photos that I want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this shape rounded rectangle tool. And you'll see here that I have the radius set at 50 pixels. And the reason is because I have learned that the particular corner rounder that I have, which I will be using, matches best with 50 pixels. Now, I have used 60, I've used 75, but I just like the way it looks with 50 for some reason. So again, personal preference, trial and error, you just kind of see how things look and if you're happy with them or not. All right, so let's see here. I don't want this to be this color because that is a little bit too much on top of the orange. So then I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. I have 3 inches by 1.75 inches. So let's see, 3 inches by, I think I want it to be a little bit larger. So maybe, I don't know, let's see, 3, and you could do anything here, 3.15 if you want to. And then I would say maybe 1.75 would be good. Then I'm going to go in here and I am going to make these boxes. Okay, my anticipation is that I want 3 on each side. So I'll just mark all of, drop all of those down. And this is going to be the size of the photo. This is the size of the photo that I'm interested in placing here. Interested in placing the photo here. Oops. And then another photo here. And I'm just putting these here because I'm going to do some journaling as well. And I'm going to do it inside of one of these boxes. All right, so there you go. Now I am going to hide all of these and just show you here quick. Hide them all, print this out. I'm going to print this out on a piece of letter size cardstock, thin because I don't want my traveler's notebook to get too fat. Normally, when I print things out in my 6x8 album, I am completely going for the thickest paper that my printer could handle. But because I'm adhering these to the pages of the notebook, I'm going to go for like my thinnest, best quality paper. And then what I'll do is and I'll just show you here, I will hide this because when I print out the photos that I'm going to use, I want them, okay, to only print. And I don't want that background to print again. Okay, so let's see if we could drag some photos in here. I'm not sure if I have any photos available yet. I didn't pick all of them out. 2023, let's look for some birthday. I know I had several birthdays in this month, so I think this was one of them. Okay, so let's just pick one of these pictures out. Let's go with this one. Open with Photoshop Elements Editor. Okay, so, and I may very well end up, because I'm not really doing this right now, because I haven't picked everything out, but I'm definitely, this was on my mind showing you guys this. So let's go over here to the photo bin, over here. This is going to be one of the pictures that I'm going to drag in. And of course, it's going to be pretty large, so I'm going to go ahead and use the handles to kind of make it smaller, okay? Place it over the rectangle that I want to use for masking. And you'll see over here, this is shape 1. Here is my photo. Hold down Option in Mac. I believe it is Control in a regular HP. And there is what I want. So now I will go ahead and I can drag these to fit my photo, drag the photo to fit it in, and commit the changes. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to mask a photo in here and a photo in here. And then over here, like I said, I was just doing these. One of these, I'm going to go ahead and put some journaling inside. So you guys know how to do that, right? Just with your text box. And I'll just go ahead and put a text box in there. And then I will start to type, you know, what am I wanting to say about these particular birthday photos. And then this one here, I'm planning on using a physical piece here, and I think I want to use a physical piece here. So basically my goal is to be able to print out 3 photos in this shape, and then this journaling box in this shape. But as I'm sitting here, I was also thinking of something else. This is perfectly fine for those of you that that just kind of are okay with printing your photos like this. I was thinking, though, that I might very well want to put a white border around my photos. So let's see here. I'm going to go in here. I'm just doing this because I will print these, and then I will actually just cut around the pictures more so to give it a white border. But that's going to make this a little bit larger. So then this would have to be resized because I do want all of these to be the same size. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, so let me clarify here. Let me show you what I mean here. So let's take a look here. I'm going to change this color again because I want it to be a little bit different. I'll make it darker. Oop, I didn't want that. Okay, let's go down here and stay on there. All right, so now I want this to be a little bit darker. And I want, let's see, maybe I'll make this... Oh gosh, let's see. What size border do I usually cut around? I would say it's probably going to be maybe another 0.15 of an inch. So maybe I'll make this 3.30 and I will make this 1.90. Enter. And I'll just see how it looks and I'll put one of those down there. So do you see how I want, let's put this here. I want there to be a border around the outside of that photo. Do you see? So I'm kind of mimicking a border so that when I print this little photo and I cut the white around it, okay, I will cut that little bit around away from the photo, and then I will use my corner punch to make the corners rounded on that paper, okay? So my point was that this piece right here, okay, not that piece, Deneen. This piece right here needs to be, do you see how it's larger? Okay, It needs to be larger because adding a border to this photo will make this photo equal that size. Okay, I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, always reach out. I do my best, but sometimes I get a little garbled up and I get confused. And I also make assumptions. I make assumptions based upon what I know. So if there's ever something that I miss because I've assumed you know it, just please call me out on it. Okay, so this will be white, and I will end up coloring that in white. I will be typing my journaling on here, okay, and printing that out. And then these 3 pieces will be photos that I will print on photo paper and cut them out with a white border around them, and then trim the pointy edges of that with my corner rounder. I hope that helps. That's the digital part of my hybrid scrapbooking. And I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else hybrid. I'm not really sure at this point, but if I do, I'll kind of just make another quick video. But let's get this printed out. I'm going to finish choosing my photos, do some editing, and then I will meet you back at my desk for how we're going to put this spread as well as a couple others together. Alrighty, so back at my desk, I have all of my physical pieces together, ready to go. And I also have my little notebook here that I am going to be adding my pages into. And 3 different spreads are what I'm going to be planning on here. And the first one is going to use the September. This is originally like a 4 by 8 1/4, 3 3/4 by 8 1/4, and I cut it down after having printed on it. So that's going to fit into a pocket. Opposite that is going to be this photo collage. This is about 2 3/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm going to use this piece of vellum from the September Scrapbook by the Month kit, and also a piece of craft cardstock. So that's going to be one of the spreads. The next one is going to be with circles, and these are the vellum cards or the vellum pieces that came with the September kit. And all I did was run them through my printer to add my journaling. For those of you who are curious, it's an inkjet printer, and it totally printed on them, and it did not rub off. Underneath those, I'm going to have these circle photos. So that's going to be quite simple. And then I chose this very simple dotted yellow background for that particular spread. And here's all of the birthday stuff that I showed you in Photoshop Elements. Here are the pieces and the photos that I was showing you how I was going to put a white border around them. So you can see there that I went ahead and I just cut a little bit outside of the photo and then rounded the corners. And those match with the size of these. This is the one that I put my journaling on. And then I cut 2 more out to match and be the exact same size. So all of these rectangles are the same size. I plan on cutting some 3 by 4 cards up using the September memories and then the birthday. So I'm going to use this all together with this page that I showed you how to recolor. So all of these are going to be a 3rd spread. So that's going to be my plan here. I'm going to start out with this one. So just going to go ahead here and do some stamping with the September stamp. Currently experiencing is the phrase. I tried some ink. I wanted to use green. This is a Tim Holtz green. A little bit light, so I was thinking I would kind of go with the Mackenzie from Ali Edwards, and that one was a little bit darker, and I liked it better, so I went ahead and chose that ink. Again, personal preference here, just adhering that temporarily to my glass mat here so that it doesn't move. And then I just go ahead and between each of those little phrases that I typed on that piece of paper, I am just putting one of these stamps. So that kind of separates each of those into a different story, a different piece of a story. So that is super, super simple. Let's get the notebook out. And here you're going to see that I had an original plan of cutting the vellum into a pocket. And so I'll kind of go ahead and mark that when I decide where I want it to be. And I will cut that with my paper trimmer. And I kind of swivel here because I really wanted to put a crease in this vellum like this. And I wanted it to extend over the crease in the notebook so that it would be kind of seamless. But you'll see here that that just did not turn out the way that I wanted it to. I used some vellum adhesive here, and that wasn't working either. It just didn't hold that vellum down. Um, I guess it just didn't hold it down enough. So you'll see here I pull out my score tape, and I'm still trying to make that work with the piece of vellum over the crease, but the vellum just starts to crack and break, and so that's not the best idea. I just I kind of just wanted it to be seamless. I didn't want to see the seam between the two pages, but it wasn't an ideal plan. So essentially, what I ended up doing was just using the score tape and putting the vellum down over the traveler's notebook page and then removing the part that was over the crease, because you can see here it's just not working out. So my best advice is cut it to the width of the size of the traveler's notebook and then just adhere it with score tape on two sides and the bottom. So again, learning from my mistakes. I try different things. You never know. Experimentation. Things sometimes work out and sometimes they don't. The opposite page is going to have a craft background, so I'll go ahead and cut that to size and then put my adhesive down, usually just starting from the middle, getting out my glass mat and cutting off the edge so that it matches the paper. And a little bit of corner rounding there and adhering that completely down. So there's the idea there. But again, I look at it and I'm like, I don't really know if I like that very much. I get my photo down and then I start thinking, maybe I'll make this into a slant. So I pull out my glass and my ruler and my craft knife and I just hold it in place, and I actually cut this pocket now on a diagonal, and I think that made me happier. I felt better, and then I just used a little more score tape to hold that piece in the center there. So that was the original plan turned into a new plan. Now here I'm going to use this yellow dotted paper as my complete background. So I will cut that to fit across both pages, and then I will mark the middle and slice that down the middle so that it is two separate papers. And again, adhering that to each side, always testing to make sure that it is not stopping the book from opening and closing and it's not getting in the way, which usually ends up having a little bit of space in the middle, but that's okay. I'm good with it. I'm used to working in these notebooks, and I know that you can't meet those papers directly in the middle. So here's the second page, and I'll go ahead and put that one down. Same concept, filling the entire spread with the background and cutting the corners on that. Now, here's my intentions here. I want these photos to go down first, and I want the vellum to be on top. And so this way I will use a tiny attacher to attach the vellum to the photo, and then the vellum can be lifted up to view the photo underneath. So that's my intention here. Now these go off of the page a little bit, so I'm going to allow them to do that. There I am stapling the vellum to the photo, and same thing here. Starting with the bottom photo, I will use my adhesive to go ahead and put that on the back of the photo and then line that up. It is going to be hanging off the outer edge just a little bit. And I'll do the same with the top photo. So making sure it opens and closes and nothing's in the way. I will do the same thing to the other side. And that's it, right? This was super, super simple. I just wanted these vellum circles in my traveler's notebook. I just wanted them in there. So I'll put that one on top as well. And you'll see that I'll just trim off the vellum that is hanging off the outer edge of each of those. So super simple, and I like the way that turned out. So here's my birthday one. So get that down to the normal size without the white edges on that paper. And again, same exact concept, lining it up, marking it where I want to cut it, and then adhering that to the pages of the traveler's notebook. Super simple this month, guys. Just I don't know, just kind of working through the months and just thinking about what I can do. And sometimes I'm super crafty, and sometimes it's just not so much. It is what it is. But I do like the way all of these turned out. Here I am getting that second page on there. and trimming off the edge of that as well. Punching or corner rounding and then positioning my photos. So you'll see how all of these rectangles are the same size. So I'll start to put the photos down, and that'll give me an idea of the distance between each photo and the distance between the top and the bottom, excuse me, the top and the bottom of the page, just moving things around. And here I'm going to cut September memories off the top of this 3x4 card. And I'm going to mount it on top of that rectangle that matches the shape of the photos. And that is just going to go in between those two photos. My journaling, I decided I would put on the top of the second page, a photo in the middle, and then the same here with this 3x4 card, I will cut the top sentiment off and mount it on that white cardstock. So we'll put that there. And last but not least, putting that on there. So those are my pages, guys. This is a simple month. Let's take a look at them in my album. So here is the page with the pocket. And you'll notice here that I added some chipboard quotation marks, one to the top of the photo collage and one to the bottom. And then I also added a Making Memories banner on the vellum and a piece of ribbon on the card. So that kind of made that a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun, a little bit more details there, right? I always add details after I'm done. I sit and I look at it and I think, what could I do? What can I make that better with? So here is the journaling. So I just kind of pulled that out and showed you how that journaling looks. This particular page here is not in the video, but you can see that in the Allie Edwards Story Classroom for the birthday kit. I did this one, and there's a process video there if you're interested in making these adorable banners hanging on embroidery floss. And then this is the one with the vellum circles. All I did to this was add a little tiny chipboard star underneath the journaling on each one of those. So kind of just brought a little bit of color into that spread. It didn't really have much color, but now I'm kind of liking the pops, right? The little pops of color from the stars. And then last but not least, my birthday spread. Few additions here. Underneath September Memories, I added a chipboard piece from the Birthday Story kit that says Birthday Story. And then on each photo, I pulled out some older stickers and I put the initial of each of these children along with the age that they turned at this particular birthday. So I chose just some bright colors, yellow, pink, orange. And I also added a tiny chipboard a tiny chipboard heart above each of those letters and numbers. So that kind of just gave it a little bit of more detail, and that's exactly what I wanted. So that's it for September, guys. Not a lot of photos this time around. Sometimes I go through lulls where I take more pictures than others, but I'm getting my stories down. I'm getting them into my little notebook, and it is just super fun. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I am happy to answer them, and I guess we'll see you guys in my next video.